It was the night of the blood moon, a rare lunar event where the moon turned deep crimson, casting an eerie red glow over the forest. For centuries, the werewolves and vampires had observed a fragile truce, each clan keeping to their territories. But on this particular night, the rules would change. Under the blood moon, supernatural power surged through the land, making both creatures stronger, faster, and more dangerous. And in the dense, shadowy forest that lay between their territories, something ancient had awakened. The werewolf clan, led by Lucas, was known for its fierce loyalty and raw strength. Lucas himself was a towering figure, with eyes that glowed amber and scars across his body from years of protecting his pack. He knew the risks of the blood moon, for it heightened not only their power, but also their rage. The pack gathered in a circle as the moon rose, each of them feeling the call to transform, their primal instincts at war with their loyalty to Lucas. But Lucas sensed something more, an ancient presence lurking just beyond the trees. It was a scent he had hoped he'd never smell again: vampires. In the heart of the forest, hidden among twisted roots and dense shadows, the vampire coven awaited the rise of the blood moon. Their leader, Selene, was as cunning as she was ruthless. She had seen more moons than any of her kin, her dark eyes holding centuries of wisdom and cruelty. Dressed in black with a cloak that flowed like liquid shadow, Selene gathered her vampires, their eyes gleaming red with anticipation. The blood moon was a night of strength, a chance to hunt and feed with abandon. Selene's coven moved like whispers in the night, each step silent, every movement calculated. They were on the hunt, hungry for blood, and the werewolves were their only true equals in battle. The vampires had long resented the werewolves' dominance in the forest, their raw power a constant challenge to the vampires' cunning and speed. As the blood moon reached its peak, the two groups converged on the edge of the forest clearing, a neutral ground turned battleground. The air grew tense, electric with anticipation. Lucas stepped forward, his chest heaving with each breath, as his pack gathered behind him, each werewolf ready to fight. Across from them, Selene and her coven stood like statues, their eyes glinting with the promise of violence. A low growl rumbled from Lucas, his muscles tensing as he prepared to shift. But Selene was already moving, a blur of shadow and fangs, her speed amplified by the moon's power. She aimed for Lucas, her movements precise and deadly. Lucas barely dodged, his claws raking the ground as he twisted to meet her attack. They clashed in a whirl of fury, her agility pitted against his raw strength. Around them, the battle exploded. The werewolves and vampires lunged at each other, claws against fangs, fur against shadow. The forest was filled with the sounds of growls, hisses, and tearing flesh. Trees splintered as bodies were thrown against them, the earth scarred by the chaos of their struggle. One vampire launched itself at Caleb, Lucas's second-in-command, only to be met with a powerful swipe of Caleb's claws. Blood sprayed through the air as the vampire fell, dissolving into ashes as it hit the ground. But for every vampire defeated, another took its place, faster and deadlier. Lucas and Selene continued their battle, each attack growing more ferocious as the blood moon fed their power. Lucas's amber eyes flashed with rage. He landed a blow, sending Selene stumbling back. But Selene, ever resilient, returned with a vengeance, her movements like a serpent striking. Just as it seemed that one of them would fall, a piercing howl echoed through the forest. Both leaders paused, the sound sending a ripple of unease through their ranks. It was Eldrick, an ancient werewolf elder, arriving to intervene. He stepped into the clearing, his massive form towering even over Lucas, his presence commanding silence. Eldrick's voice boomed through the clearing, calling for an end to the bloodshed. He reminded them of the reason for their truce, a prophecy tied to the blood moon. According to legend, if the two clans shed each other's blood beneath its light, they would awaken an even darker power, a creature neither werewolves nor vampires could control. The land would be cursed, doomed to eternal darkness, where neither side would survive. The realization hit them like a cold wind, Both Lucas and Selene hesitated, their instincts screaming for blood, but their minds recalling the ancient warning. Slowly, they withdrew, each clan gathering their wounded, their eyes still locked in distrust and anger. As the blood moon began to wane, the vampires and werewolves retreated back to their respective territories, the tension still thick in the air. The prophecy's warning had been enough to hold them back for now, but both leaders knew the peace was temporary. The blood moon had revealed a truth neither side could deny, that their thirst for power and dominance could very well lead to their mutual destruction. And as the forest grew quiet once more, the legend of the blood moon battle lived on, a reminder to both werewolves and vampires that in their war, neither side would truly win.